Hi everyone, I'm Holly from Handprinted, and in this video I'm going to talk you through some of the options that you have for transferring your drawings onto Lino. I've got some different resources here for some of the different methods so you can find the right method for you. The first method I'm going to show you is one lots of you have done loads of times before, just with a sheet of tracing paper. We have this in pad form, A4 and A3 at handprinted.co.uk, or you might already have some. And this is the usual method, you probably did it at school, where you draw your design onto tracing paper. You can trace over a design if you want to, if you've already got one on paper, or maybe you're tracing from a photograph or something like that. You want to make sure you use a nice soft pencil. This one is an 8B, something like that, something in the B family, the high B family will be lovely. Turn it over. Use a harder pencil to scribble on the back. You can either go over all the lines or just have a general scribble, depending on how detailed your design is. And your design should be transferred over onto the lino. Now I'm using the traditional lino here, the Hessian back traditional grey lino. Lots of these methods will work on the different kinds of linos that you can get, but they won't all work on all of the vinyls, so be sure to try your method on a little bit of your lino before you do a whole drawing, just in case it hasn't worked on that one. But I'm going to focus on the traditional lino today. If you head over to our blog, we have written about transferring drawings onto different kinds of lino and vinyls and soft cuts and things before, so please have a look there to see how the different methods can be adapted. But for now, we're on traditional lino. This scribble on the back tracing paper method is a classic, but it means you have a pencil drawing now. This is going to be smudgeable, so it might not be ideal for all of your projects, but it is a quick, easy way to get a drawing onto the lino. You can also obviously draw directly onto the lino. You don't have to trace anything at all. You can draw directly on, either with a pencil or with a pen. If you want to, then you can draw directly onto the lino as well, and nice strong marks will come up. You want to be a little careful that you don't get transference from whatever your marks are to your print, so you want to do a little test beforehand, just a little mark and then some ink and a print, just to make sure it isn't coming through. Whereas most of these methods won't come through when you're printing. If you're printing with a very pale colour, something like a yellow, then there's potential for that ink to come through. So please do check these techniques with your whole method before you start to make sure it's going to work. So we've got drawing directly on, tracing paper. You can also use carbon paper. Now we have two kinds of carbon paper at Handprinted. We've just got this classic blue carbon copy paper, and we have the red carbon paper. And this is a much more permanent solution. It seems to be better at drawing onto all the different kinds of vinyls, but it is more expensive than the blue stuff. For this method, all you have to do is put your carbon paper the dark side down and draw over the top. So here's my carbon mark. It's not particularly strong, but this is a great method if you have a drawing that you've already done, especially if it's quite complicated. You can tape the carbon paper at the edges, tape your drawing down, and then meticulously go over your entire design, more accurately than I'm doing here, depending on your design, and your design will appear on the lino. You can see that it is fairly faint, but it is quite accurate. The red carbon paper is going to give you a stronger line, and it's also going to be more permanent, so that's a really good option if you want to transfer a really detailed drawing onto your lino. Again, if you're the kind of person who likes to draw directly onto the lino, or maybe you like to block it out with some carbon paper or tracing paper and then work in the details or draw over it, then these are a fantastic option. They are Staedtler Lumacolor permanent pencils. We have them at handprinted.co.uk in white and in red, and they are really beautifully bright and permanent on the lino. I mean, that's the brightest of them all. It's also quite tricky to smudge. The white is a particularly good option, as it is unlikely to transfer to your paper. If you have any left after you've done your carving, it's unlikely to leave a mark on your final print, so this can be a really great option. The white pencil is also a really good option, as it's unlikely to transfer any marks to your final print. So here's just a few methods for transferring or drawing directly onto your lino to get that design exactly as you want it. Some are really simple and require hardly any materials whatsoever. Some require a little bit of specialist equipment. There's bound to be one method that works for you in your project. Tools and materials can be found at handprinted.co.uk, as well as loads of blogs and videos to help you guys with your projects. Happy printing!